Self-support, especially if you have set for yourself a long-term goal, something big like kind of building a new identity, changing your mindset, kind of becoming a new person. How can you build this long-term self-support and be there for you for all those months and years? So hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And today I want to continue the topic of this self-acceptance, self-love, self-support, especially for those, same like me, who are on a big health journey, on a big weight loss journey. And I have a lot of videos about that already on my channel, but today I especially want to talk about self-support because it kind of feels that self-support along with self-acceptance are probably the most important tools when we are kind of playing it long, when we want to change our life dramatically and become a different person. And in order not just become that different person and not only to reach those particular goals, but be able to stay in that condition, it's gonna take quite a lot of time because for those we need habits. And it's, as you probably know, in case you have ever tried to do it, to build completely new habits, to replace your old habits with new habits, it's a big task and it's gonna take time. And in order to be able to reach that goal for many months, for years, you need to learn to support yourself, to motivate yourself, to accept yourself. And probably the first step in this journey, in this thing, it's gonna be connected with actually understanding what is self-support. And I think self-support is closely connected to self-love, something that I mentioned in my previous video. So idea kind of the same. When you see your loved ones, somebody you truly care about, and you see they are in a difficult conditions, maybe they want to do something, but they feel like they don't have enough power yet to do. Or maybe they want to build new habits, maybe they want to give up some old bad habits and build new ones. You definitely want to support them. And please check what you do. In case somebody wants to quit smoking, or maybe somebody wants to do sport in the morning, or whatever, and they ask, how can you help them? Or you just think, how can I help my loved ones to reach their goals? The way you treat them, the way you talk to them, the way you're trying to support them is actually already a roadmap how you need to treat yourself, how you need to talk to yourself, and how you need to support yourself. Because practically, we should always think about ourselves like the loved ones. Practically, we are the biggest love of our life. We should be the biggest supporter of ourselves. And since, unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of experience sometimes in our own life with that, a good way to start is actually to observe how we treat our loved ones and just kind of copy it back to us. The first working kind of tool on this idea of building self-support is the idea of asking yourself questions. So in order to be successful, especially in those long-term goals, we need to know why we are doing that. And as with any journey, especially a long-term journey, there will be bumps on those roads. And once we hit them, it's a very good idea to ask yourself questions, especially supportive questions, like, how do I feel now? Is there something I can do to improve the situation? Is there something I can do in the future, in a similar case, in a similar situation, so I will feel better? And as I told before, probably the biggest aha moment, the biggest insight for me in those self-question asking part, mindful questioning, is the idea that when I ask myself those questions, I'm trying not to judge myself. I'm trying to be curious. So in case I decided to skip my workout, or I ate more than I have to, or I had a binge eating episode, anything that I consider negative in terms of reaching my goals, I need to ask, first of all, those questions. Why do I think it's happening? What could be done in a different way? Maybe there was some kind of trigger that pushed me. What was that trigger? Is there something else I can do in a similar situation in the future with a different result? And while I'm asking myself all those questions, I'm trying to be curious. It's like kind of like even fake curiosity, like, oh, so I did this because I felt this, or these words of my friend pushed me to do this. And it's very thrilling feeling when you can ask yourself all those personal questions, be honest, just because you are really curious, you are really interested in the answer instead of just judging those answers. It's a skill. It takes time to practice and to teach yourself to be like that, but it's really, really very nice workable tool, not only for self-support, self-love and other self things, but kind of practically for anything. My next point is connected with failure and how we understand it. So for many of us, failure is definitely something bad, and it creates a lot of negativity around it, especially when we are playing something in the long run. So what helped me, it's like reframing this idea of failure, putting kind of more to it. So in case, okay, I wanted to do this workout, I was kind of lazy, I didn't do it. Is it truly a failure? Just this one thing that I decided to skip. Is it truly a failure? Or maybe it was some kind of period that I needed some rest. What is actually a failure? How I personally understand the failure. What are my whys? Again, it's probably connected with questioning, but the more honest self-talk you have, the more honest you are with yourself, with your wishes, with your desires, with your feelings, it's getting kind of easier and easier to reach those goals. So what helps me? I'm trying to put more whys to my goal. So I want to work out why. Because I want to be healthy, because I want to fit into that dress that I bought myself 10 years ago and I still have it in my closet, because I want to make impression on some of my relatives, because I want to feel more energetic, because I want to look better, because I want to like the way I look in the mirror. There could be many things, and there is nothing bad or wrong. Like any why is good. But the point is, there should be different why. They're not all of them should be connected to how you look. Some of them should be connected to your health. Some of them can be connected to something else. Only you know the answer for those. But more bigger why create a stronger motivation and stronger discipline. And failure in this case already influenced by that. So it was probably not a failure. It was just a pause. It was something that you need to think about. It was just period when you need to ask yourself questions, and it really, really helps. Which kind of brings me to the next point, which is celebrating consistency, but not perfection. So I told in my previous video that the biggest trigger for me in terms of failure is actually when I see that instead of losing weight, I'm gaining it, and I see it on my scales, or when I go to shop and I cannot find my size, or the clothes doesn't sit on me as nice because I have too many weight on my body. And if I only see weight loss or smaller body as a end goal, as a result, it's very hard to stay positive, and it's very hard to stay consistent. But in case I see the journey, I'm looking at the journey, not at the end point. So I'm paying attention to how many workouts I have done, how many times I prepared myself some healthy food, how many times I've eaten vegetable this week, or how many times I had a home-cooked meal, etc., etc. In this case, focus is on building long-term habits as of just paying attention to short-term results. And especially if your goal is big enough, like mine, and you need to lose like more than 30 kilograms, or you need to kind of build a new identity, since I'm having issues with food, with myself, and I have been fighting with food for practically all my life. This is something big, and I understand this is gonna take me years to kind of completely change it. And I cannot be on this journey long enough if I hate it. If every time I step on scale and I'm not happy, every time I go to shop and I cannot find my size, I'm not happy, it's gonna crush me. No way I will be able to reach that goal for years in case I hate every single step of it. So instead, I'm trying to pay attention to some nice things that I have, and actually to consistency. That I get to go to forest and walk, and I get to go to seaside, swim, or walk on the beach. Like, to pay attention to all those nice moments, and especially to my identity. So I am that person who loves healthy food. I'm that person who loves walking. I'm that person who is kind of healthy. And this idea of building identity, this idea of actually enjoying journey instead of just beating yourself and only paying attention to the result. And we know that, especially if you're a woman, it's so hard to control the result because of hormones, because of water in the body, because of so many things. Even if we are perfectly eating, even if we're doing all the workouts, still it doesn't guarantee that you will see drop on your scales, because there are more to that than just food and exercise, even though probably they are the most important components. So in case you are focusing only on this, and in case you are like me, it's something that triggers you, something that crush your motivation, probably the best idea is really to pay attention to the journey, not to the end result, and pay attention to consistency, but actually not perfection. Another thing what helped me, especially keeps me in one place, is such thing as anchoring, and I talk about it in many of my previous video. So anchor, it's a physical object that you may use in order to connect your desire, your motivation, your self-support, self-acceptance to a physical object. As I told, in my case I use ring. Also for another exercise I use a mug. So every time when I feel like I want to talk to myself, to have this nice self-talk, this nice self-supportive talk, I put myself coffee or tea in that particular mug. I'm trying to do it when I'm alone, when I have enough free time, when I can sit with myself. And while I'm sipping that coffee or tea and holding that mug in my hands, I'm trying to have this positive self-talk. I'm trying to have this self-supportive talk. And I'm not using this mug for any other purposes. I'm only using this mug in order to have this self-supportive talk. And because I use it only for this purpose, for me it's just enough to take this mug in my hands and put some coffee in that, in order to already feel this kind of connection, because my brain starts associating this self-supportive talk already with this anchor, with this mug. And I told that I'm using ring for my healthy identity, and I have a separate video about that. Anyway, idea is you are choosing an object, and it can be practically anything. It can be pen, it can be some clothes, it can be sticker on your mirror, it can be a mug, it can be some accessories, some pieces of clothes, something that you may use regularly or from time to time depending on your goals. And you can kind of connect particular tool, particular identity, particular desire, outcome or goal to that object. And there is nothing magical or crazy about that. The idea is that this physical object only helps you to stay focused. And because you use only this object for only this particular purpose, it's some kind of shortcut for your brain to reach that state. You don't need to make this settle, you don't need to think about it, because for your brain it's already a signal. I see this ring, I'm thinking about my healthy identity. I see this particular mug, I'm thinking about positive self-supportive talk to myself. And it make the situation faster, because when I was only starting doing this, it took me a while, like to woke up that feeling inside me. But now, because my brain already has this experience, and I have done it many times, so I have already connection between me, that desirable state, and that particular physical object, mug. It's so much faster, so you just need a couple of minutes, and it's kind of getting better. Again, you need to test for yourself. All those tools that I'm mentioning, it's something that's working for me. It may not work for you, but again, you never know if you are not gonna try, so test it. So I hope you find this video useful. I'm planning to make more videos on this topic because I find it's very important, especially for those who are on their very long journey, like weight loss journey or health journey, especially if your desired state is kind of far from your current state. So in case you have more ideas, more tools, more techniques, please share them, because as you know, the more tools we have, the richer we are, and the easier it is for us to reach our ambitious goal. So thank you for staying here with me. I wish you a great day, and I will see you soon.